Today on the Ask Brady Show, we talk about the best tips and tricks for sending promotional emails.
Well, hey there!
And welcome to the Ask Brady Show, episode number 55. We've got 4 great questions from the people of Pro Church Nation, and I'm joined, as always, to my left, you're right, it's Roxanne.
It's true.
True it is, behind the camera, the editing wizard himself, Joe Nex. And the man with the cam, Alex Mills.
Thanks. It's not really as special as it sounds because I work here, but I'm here.
Roxanne, take us away with the first question.
All right, first question comes from Jeff, and he says, when you make a good/funny promo video intended for showing in a service, do you wait until after it's shown live before you post it online, or do you use it to drive people to your social media/newsletter before the service is originally shown? We did a promo video yesterday for a new sermon series. As a part of it, a few staff walked barefoot across Legos. I think it's funny and will be well received. I can see putting it in this week's newsletter with the subject, Watch Pastor Todd Walk Barefoot on Legos, and having a huge open rate. But does that cheapen it for Sunday?
Thanks for the question, Jeff. I think this is a pretty simple answer. I think that your Sunday morning service is the main event of church, and so I think that you'd want to do the premiere, the debut of your videos there. I don't know how much that you'd gain from doing kind of a teaser promo beforehand. I think that it's very, very useful to send out the video through the email the week after the Sunday service happens. So do the big debut during Sunday service, and then the week after you can send it out. This way, everyone in service gets the live viewing first-time experience. I've noticed even before when we see a video, let's say I'm on the worship team or I'm hosting or whatever, and we do kind of a service run-through and I see the video beforehand, I notice that my reaction is so much lessened when I see it in the actual service.
Right.
And I always think that, man, everyone's seeing this for the first time, and there's, let's say, 10 to 20 people that are not seeing it for the first time and would contribute to the overall laughter, an overall fun first-time reaction, except we already saw it during run-through, or we already saw it as a test before service begins. And so sometimes I'll actually disallow myself from watching a video during run-through just because I want to have that first experience as everyone else does watching it in service, and because from a purely like banal perspective, I want like my laughter to be a part of the overall laughter to make sure like we get as much laughs as possible because it's a community thing, and if I laugh more, then others will laugh more, and it's just like lots of laughter.
True. I'm on board for that.
Perfect. And there's the answer to Jeff.
All right, next question comes from Joseph, and he says, hey, love your guys' stuff. It's very inspiring. Here's the question that I have. How early do you suggest that I start promoting our church's events on social media? Is there a suggested schedule to follow? Also, what are some creative ways to make the announcements on your pages? If a church page is only filled with flyers, it looks pretty boring.
Well, this is a great question, Joseph, and this is something that we are experiencing firsthand at Pro Church Tools right now as we prepare for the Nucleus launch.
Yeah.
So we've been building Nucleus for close to 18 months now. We've spent more than $1 million. We've worked with more than 1,000 churches in our private beta, one-on-one, getting feedback, and now we're in the middle of our pre-launch sequence as we build anticipation and build excitement up to the launch date for Nucleus, Tuesday, March 20th at 11 a.m. Eastern. And our launch sequences are, at this point, a pretty well-documented and detailed, specific build-up and sequence of events as we lead closer to that day where we, turn the new homepage on and say, we're ready, welcome to the new Nucleus. And we do these big launches a couple of times each year. And the point that I'm making here is that there are different levels of events within your church, and not every event should receive the same amount of promotion and build-up as another. And so, obviously, each church is different, but most churches probably have around 3 levels of events. You've got your big, most important events. So for us, this would be the Nucleus launch each year, the Storytape launch each year. We do 1 or 2 launches each year, basically. And so this for you could be Easter and Christmas, for example, the 2 biggest events. And and these should receive the most promotion and the largest amount of buildup. From there, you've got like your secondary big events. So this could be, the yearly men's retreat, the yearly student retreat. Think yearly events, but rather than on a church-wide level for the whole church, this is more maybe for individual ministry level. And then there's the third level, which is pretty much everything else. So this could be, the weekly Wednesday night gathering, or it could be, the monthly worship night specific, where it's like, it's like a night of worship, and we do it every fourth Sunday night of the month, for instance. And so what you want to do is look at each of the three levels and figure out, okay, what level of promotion makes sense in our church for each of these? Because we could put together, and maybe we should, we have not as of yet, but like a giant matrix of how this works. Because first you've got this single variable. Which event level or which event tier does your event fall into? Is it an Easter or a Christmas? Is it second tier or is it third tier? And then you then couple that with all the possible channels that you could promote through. So you've got email, website, stage announcements, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, the bulletin, and it could go on and on. Print materials, like for instance, when you go to the bathroom at my church at a urinal, there is a printed promotion right above. Okay. It's like, oh, well, I'm going to go pee. I might as well hear about the upcoming men's retreat.
Yeah.
And so there's so many different places that you could promote. And so what I would do and what I would suggest is look at your three different tiers and figure out, actually before that, I would do the inverse. Strike that. Look at all the different channels that you can promote with. So take inventory of all potential channels that you can promote an event through at your church and give each one a number. And that number should correlate to how difficult and how wide-reaching that channel specifically is to execute on. So a stage announcement is probably not too difficult to put together, but it is one of the most highly valued promotional areas for a church. Whereas a social post on Facebook might not take that much to put together, and it's also, super high valuable because you could post multiple times each day. Whereas Sunday, you might only get 3 announcements from stage. At least that's what we would recommend. And so that would be so much more valuable. Whereas like a video promotion, that would be maybe the most valuable because it's going to take a ton to put together. It's going to be difficult, and to be shown during service, that's going to take maybe 1 to 5 minutes of the entire service's time. So that's going to be really special. So look at every single channel that you have available. Take inventory, write down every single way that you could promote an event, and then assign a numeric value to it. And the higher the number is, the more difficult and more valuable that type of promotion should be. So maybe a social post gets a 2, and a note in the bulletin gets a 1, and an email gets a 3, and a video gets a 7, and just give numbers all the way, like let's say from 1 to 10 or 1 to 5. And then look at the 3 different levels of event tiers. So the Christmas and Easter at the top, second tier and third tier, and assign a number value. It could be a number range, so let's say 10 to 20 or 10 to 15, and then figure out which number or which range of numbers should go for each. So, okay, for Easter and Christmas, we are going to go all out, and we're going to do every single type of promotion possible. So add up all the numbers in your promotion number column, and maybe you get a 20. So you go 20 to 25. That is the amount of promotion that a top-level event like an Easter or Christmas experience would get. And now you've assigned a numeric value to it. And then for the second level, be like, okay, now we're going to do, let's say, for a second level, if the top level is 20 to 25, the second level should be like a 10 to 15, and then the bottom level should be like, a 2 to 7 or a 5 to 10 or a 1 to 5 or something like that. And then you basically are given like a number of credits or a value. And you're like, okay, I have 25 credits to spend. I would like to get 1 video and 3 emails. And it's like when you like go to the arcade and get all your tickets, and then you're like, I'd like the pencil and the monkey and the neon ring. Thank you. My daughter and I go to the arcade sometimes, so I know all about the arcade gifts. So that's one way to just take the promotion equation and add some numeric value to it, make it a bit more empirical, a little more data-driven. And then when it comes to the timeline, with the Nucleus launch, when we do launches, and again, this would like relate to your highest level events, we'll start, 6 to 10 weeks out when it comes to promotion. With our, more mid-tier stuff, it'd probably be 2 to 4 weeks. And then when it comes to our bottom tier, it's 1 to 2 weeks. But with that being said, you also have to consider not just, your church-wide promotions, but your ministry-specific promotions. And so I think when it comes to that bottom tier, the ministry-specific stuff, you should, as much as possible, be doing promotion within the ministry itself and not church-wide.
Right.
When it comes to promotions, we'll always say, if it doesn't apply to 50% or more of the people in attendance, it probably does not deserve an announcement. So on a Sunday morning, if you're talking about a men's ministry and only, 30% of your congregation is men that are 18 and older that could attend that ministry, it's just not worth a Sunday morning announcement because it just doesn't apply to as many people. And that slot, that type of promotion is so valuable that you want to save it for the promotions that would reach that criteria of 50% or more. And so there's no easy answer here, but hopefully that kind of makeshift matrix that I just came up with can be a little bit helpful in determining what gets promoted and when. And then when it comes to the timeline, the more important it is, the more time that you want to give. And when it comes to being creative with it, being, not just time, date, information, this is the difference between being inspirational and being informational. You want a promotion as much as possible to provide value on its own while promoting something. So for instance, in this answer, I've delivered a lot of value and hopefully a good response. And I've also promoted Nucleus in the upcoming launch. That's the sweet spot between promoting something, but also delivering value at the same time. Churches too often deliver information and are asking for something, but they're not delivering value up front. Your church and your visitors are asking, what's in it for me? We're all selfish people and we want something for us. We're okay with, reciprocity and giving something when it's first given to us. We're okay with giving in return, but you can't just ask everything from us. What are you giving to me? And so deliver value, combine those two, and really think about the difference. Do this thought exercise in your own head, the difference between inspiration and information.
That matrix or whatever you want to call it is one of my favorite things that you teach, actually.
Oh, yeah?
Because I feel like social media can come across as so in your head, kind of you just need to decide what's going to be good for each ministry. And that kind of gives it a more solid, this ministry gets this many credits to work with and work inside of that.
And we should do a Pro Church Daily episode on it then where we share it in a more concrete way.
Yeah, I like that.
Awesome.
All right, next question comes from Ben. He says, I love the simplicity of a branded house. The past couple of years, I've been in the do no more harm mode of at least not adding any new brands inside our church. But now I think we're at a tipping point where I can begin pruning some of these confusing brands. For example, our Young Marrieds Network. But I have a question. How do you navigate different regular events inside one of the ministry groupings? For instance, our Fellowship Kids has the Sunday morning programs as well as a Sunday night. Right now they are called different things, but with the branded house, do I differentiate by time or should they still have different names?
Thanks for the question, Ben. Just to do a little bit of a recap, Ben is referring to the difference between a branded house and a house of brands. A lot of churches will operate under the umbrella of Hope Church, Hope Kids, Hope Students, Hope Women, Hope Men. That would be the example of a branded house. It follows the idea of, iMac, iPad, iTunes, McDouble, McChicken, McDonald's, McNuggets. The importance of creating an overall brand and how it's difficult for churches to sustain multiple brands. Just focus on one. A lot of churches are going to be Hope Church, Him Men's Ministry, as in this example from Ben, Toil, Time of Your Life. What is that? Oh, that's actually our senior adult ministry. Yeah. Impact Students. And it's there's just a bunch of different brands. Nothing's cohesive. There's no unity. And it's difficult for the church itself. They've got to maintain now 5 different brands. Yeah. McDonald's and Apple don't try to do that, but you think you can? That's just an audacious, ambitious goal. I don't think most churches can do that. And so it's much easier and much better for communication to have a branded house rather than a house of brands. Ben's question is, okay, let's say I have Hope Church, Hope Men, Hope Women, Hope Kids. What about Hope Kids? They've got a multiple different ministry or events within the single Hope Kids ministry brand. And the example that Ben gave was Equip and Fuse. And these are two names that churches have used plenty of different times. That's a totally common example. What is more clear to you, Roxanne? Hope Kids Sunday night or Hope Kids Fuse?
Hope Kids Sunday night.
Hope Kids Sunday morning or Hope Kids Equip?
Obviously, the one that says Sunday morning.
When you get down to this level, I think it's okay to be as descriptive as possible. At the end of the day, with communication, you're trying to create, an inspirational brand that you want people to be a part of, and hopefully your overall church's brand collateral can do that. There's a logo, there's typography, there's colors, there's a vision and mission. It stands for something. People want to be a part of it. But when you get down to the minutia and the nitty-gritty, at that point you want to be descriptive, because it's already annoying when you have to explain what Equip and Fuse is when those are the ministry names. But when they get to the ministry actually events, every time you promote it, you're going to have to say the name, and then you're going to have to say what the name actually means.
Yeah.
And as much as possible, you just want to be descriptive at this level because it gets confusing. Hope Kids Fuse, our Sunday night event, when you could just say Hope Kids Sunday night and be done with it.
Yeah.
There's a reason on a top level why I think Toil, Time of Your Life, Adults Ministry, which was the ministry name for our senior adults ministry at the church we grew up in. It didn't make any sense. Like, you'd always have to explain what it was, and then you'd have to say the actual name, which wasn't even a name. It was an acronym, so it was 4 names. Just like so confusing. When you get to the level of Hope Men Discovery, which is actually our campfire that happens every Thursday night during the summer. It's like, well, just call it Hope Men Campfire Nights or whatever, and it can be descriptive, and that's okay. Because I think that, and I understand Ben's difficulty here, that it can become a little bit difficult, but even when you get to an event like that, you wouldn't say, hey, Hope Kids, welcome to Fuse. You would just say, hey, Hope Kids, welcome to Hope Kids. And they'd all be like, yay, we're so glad to be at Hope Kids. They don't care if it's Fuse or Equip Monday morning or Sunday morning or Sunday night. To them, it's all Hope Kids, right? Yeah. And so at the same point, you don't want to do a great job of simplifying your brand, your house of brands, getting it to a branded house, and then complicate it again by adding all these sub-event names with their own unique thing. And then at some point, you're not going to be able to keep that consistent. You'll have, Hope Kids Fuse and Hope Kids Equip, but then you'll have like Hope Kids VBS, and you'll be like, well, let's not call it VBS because that's too descriptive. Everything else has a cool name. So then you want to call it Hope Kids, Mercenary, which is apparently a really violent VBS, which is based on Old Testament lore. And, eventually it'll become so confusing because you'll want to be consistent. And so you can be consistent while being descriptive, but if you're going to be consistent while being creative, then you're going to have dozens and dozens, and you're going to run out of buzzwords that are basically, really empty, like Fuse and Equip and entrust and delegate. And,
Delegate.
I don't know. I've already ran out.
Hope
I'm
Kids
at 4.
delegate.
So keep it simple. Keep it descriptive as much as possible.
Yeah. All right. Last question comes from Will, and he's responding to Pro Church Daily about building a church communication plan. And he says, thank you so much for the video. It was a lot of help. I was surprised that email was number 2. How should I be using email effectively for churches?
Thanks for the question, Will. Will is referring to episode number 31 of Pro Church Daily, where we talk about how to build and construct a communications plan from scratch for your church. We talk about the 3 most popular and powerful platforms that your church should invest in and prioritize, that being number 1, website, number 2, email, and number 3, Facebook. And Will, like many that have responded to that episode, we're a little bit surprised by the importance and how high we ranked email. And so the question is, how do we do email well? And so email has been by far the most important digital platform for us at Pro Church Tools. And even as we've dived more and more into Facebook, Instagram, social, Twitter, ads and paid promotion and websites and all that, like Facebook is still the bedrock of what we do, and it has the highest interaction rate. So the most important thing when it comes to the email that you're sending out is a catchy, engaging headline. It doesn't matter how great the email is that you write if nobody reads it. And so you've got to earn an open when it comes to your email. And the best way to do that is with a headline. Some ways that you can earn an open are using headlines that are curiosity-based. So make a promise in the headline that is not revealed unless you open the email, or it's not revealed unless you open the email and click on the link. So we'll send an email. The one that we sent today was 3 reasons your church needs to delete your website slider immediately. If you get that email, you're like, what are these reasons? Wait, I thought sliders were good. Mm-hmm. What now? That's curiosity. and you open it. Another great way to write headlines is to use numbered lists. Numbered lists are great because they make a promise. Oh, there's 3 precise reasons. I want to learn each of the 3 reasons. So you can use numbers. Another great way to earn an open is to use purposeful ambiguity. What I mean by that is a 1-word email headline. Now, you want to use these sparingly, so we only will use these during the actual Nucleus launch itself, where it's like, we need this email to be able, so it'll be like, yikes, or wow, or really, with a question mark. And it's like, they're so short and they feel very conversational and they're unusual and they are a pattern interrupt compared to most email headlines that they earn an open. And then when it comes to the actual email itself, what I like to do is I like to format the email so it feels like it's coming from a friend or a family member. So none of our emails have graphics in them. None of them have fancy formatting. They are just basic HTML black text on a white background. And so that way it feels like Brady from Pro Church Tools is sending you a personal email. The other thing that you want to do when it comes to maximizing click-through rates and maximizing email performance is really only focus on one item in each email. So I understand why churches would send out newsletters, and if you're doing that, keep doing it. But if you really want to maximize your email response, email click-through rate, and engagement, you want to focus on one thing. So we'll only post one link in our email. So in that slider email that we sent out today, 3 reasons why your church should delete your slider immediately and what to replace it with, ... close bracket. We just had one link in there, and it was to that blog post. That's it. We didn't have another link to anything else. It was focused, just that and nothing else. Final tip is that I like to add PSs into my email. So I'll be like, here's the email, signed off Brady Shearer, creator of Pro Church Tools, and then underneath I'll have a PS. The reason for this is that the PS section of an email is by far the most read part. People will scan directly to that. They'll see like, hey, Jim, and I'm like, okay, ooh, PS. They'll go right to that. And so I always include that, and it'll always be kind of like just a recap of the email with one interesting twist, and I'll often always do my best to save the most convincing or most highly converting copy of the email for that PS section, simply because I know the attention is going to be paid there the most. And so hopefully those are a number of different tips and tricks that I've learned from sending hundreds of different emails over the years. Hopefully those are helpful to you, Will. And that'll do it for today's episode of Pro Church Daily. But if you want your question answered, you need to send in a video, people. I think we've had 2 weeks in a row without any videos, and this is just upsetting because Roxanne has to read through them, and I love Roxanne, but I want to see the pretty faces of Pro Church Daily as well. I see Roxanne's face, her pretty face every day, sit across from her. Day. So I want to see your pretty face as well. Send in a video to Roxanne at hello@prochurchtools.com. We'll immediately prioritize your video question, put it at the top of the queue. You'll be getting your question answered first above all these written questions with these nameless faces. Well, thank you to everyone that sent in a written question. You can also tag your question on social, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or YouTube with the hashtag AskBrady, and we'll track it down. Thanks for watching today's episode of Pro Church Daily. No, it's the Ask Brady Show. Oh, I always do this. Thanks for watching today's episode of Thanks for watching today's episode of the Ask Brady Show. We'll see you next time.